In my last video, which was incidentally my November TBR, I said it was time for my monthly wrap. Hi. But today it actually is! It's time for my October wrap! Welcome back to Mr. Francy Reads! Let's go! Yes, hello and welcome back to Mr. Francy Reads. Today we are doing my October monthly wrap. And before we go any further, I would like to dedicate this video to Pat, who on my last video said that I made her smile. Pat, you made me smile with your comment. Thank you so very, very much. If you would like a shout out in one of my videos, leave a comment in the space below. Also, if you haven't already, please do subscribe. It does really help the channel, and hit that bell, ding, and click the all to make sure that you're notified each and every time I do upload a video. So, brought to you by the dedication of Pat, let's begin the October monthly wrap for the Mr. Francy channel by starting off putting the monthly stats up on the screen in 3, 2, 1, go. For the month of October, I read a total of 11 books comprising of 5 cozy mysteries, 3 classics, 1 LGBTIQ+, 1 horror, and 1 fantasy. To my age groups, and I read 3 middle grades, 1 YA, and 7 adult books. To my lengths, and I read 1 3/4 tome, 2 half tomes, and 7 novellas, totaling 2,796 pages. Mainly because of the novellas. To my star ratings, and I had, well, it was basically 4-star station this month. I had 2 5 stars, 1 4.5 star, 6 4 stars, and 1 3 star. But good news, no 2 stars and no 1 star. Alright, let's jump right on in, shall we? The first book that I read for the month of October was this book, which is Beyond the Veil by Caroline Peckham and Suzanne Valenti. This is book number 8.5, and the second last book in the Zodiac Academy series. It is an adult fantasy, and I gave this book 4 stars. Now, there's not a lot I can say about this book without giving away spoilers or compromise by quickly telling you a little bit about the premise of the series as a whole. We follow 2 twins by the name of Darcy and Tori, but there is a lot more to them than meets the eye. Without saying what exactly it is, they both discover that they have magical abilities and end up going to an academy known as Zodiac Academy to learn more about their abilities. I absolutely love this series, and I loved this book. Certain things occurred in book number 8 that, again, would be spoilery, so I can't say them, but those things made book 8 my least favorite book in the series. Book 8.5 very much made up for it. Certain things that I felt were lacking and that were certainly needed appeared in book 8.5, and by the time I got to the end of this particular book, it had me incredibly excited to pick up the final book, which will be the first book, potentially. First or third. Anyway, I'll talk to you about that in my week 1 reading vlog, but anyway, currently, the first book I plan to read in the month of November. It was fantastic. The ending couldn't have gone on any longer if they tried, so therefore I deducted a star, but otherwise 4 stars. Really, really fantastic book. And yeah, even though I'm going to be sad to close out the series, I am going to be reading more Caroline Peckham and Suzanne Valenti next year with my dear friend Amy, and also potentially Jane will be joining us. We're going to do this on the Discord, so if you would like to join us, link to the Discord as always in the description. I'm planning on hosting a number of buddy reads next year, and it's always good to prepare early. Let's move forward, shall we? The next book that I read for the month of October was this book, which is Easy Money by C. Call Me Sar, and I need to take a moment to apologize. This is only the second time I have made this apology in my entire booktube career, which is, unfortunately, I genderized C. Commissar incorrectly in my reading vlogs, and I'm very, very sorry about that. C.S.E.A. certainly could be a male or female name. I thought it was a male author. I was incorrect. So C. Commissar is a female author, and I apologize for that. By the way, Easy Money is the first book in the Deadly Reality TV series. It is an adult horror, and I gave this book a total of 5 stars. I absolutely love this book. I picked it up thinking it was a standalone and loved it. When I found out that it was part of a series, best believe that I'm going to be reading more. And book number 2 I'll be reading sooner than you may think. Let's go through the premise. The premise of this book is Damon is not only making good television, he is also struggling with his own inner needs to watch people in pain. Slowly, Damon pushes boundaries to find what is acceptable and what is not. Throw in his own revenge vendetta and Damon's personal pain show viewings, and you get the first book in this series of the Deadly Reality TV series. I probably could have said that premise better than the one I copied and pasted from the original author, but anyway, I found it to be a fantastic book. To my thoughts, I DNF'd a book prior to picking up that one, and yeah, that's not like me to not put that book up on the screen, but we'll get to that in a moment. And as a result, picked up this one, and oh my gosh, amazing book. I've never read from C. Commissar before, but if her other books are anywhere near as good as this one, I may have found a new hidden gem author. The action starts right away, page 1, which was a pro for me, as I prefer to be dropped right into the middle of a horror right away to get a taste to begin with. The horror elements were definitely horrific, but the fact that they revolve around a game show made it more fun. I was thrilled to find out it was a series. As I said, going in, I thought it was a standalone, and I cannot wait to read more. And I gave this book an overwhelming 5 stars. So now let's quickly talk about that book that I did DNF that led me to Easy Money, and that is this book, The Angel of Vengeance by Wade H. Garrett. This is an adult horror, and I was very, very excited to get to this book because I was told that it was very similar to Saw, the Saw films, which I love. Well, might say something controversial here. I did not like Saw 10, but I am looking forward to Saw 11. So yeah, I was very excited going in. Unfortunately, there were a number of reasons why I just could not continue on with this series, and none of them having to do with horror elements, all of them having to do with writing style choices that Wade H. Garrett made. First of all, unlike Easy Money by C. Commissar, we are not dropped right into the horror right away. It took a long time for me to DNF the book, and by the time I did DNF the book, we still hadn't experienced any horror elements, so yeah, not good. Secondly, W.H. Garrett is very descriptive and flowery in his writing. Well, flowery is probably wrong. He's very descriptive in his writing. You can't pass by this, that, or the other without Wade H. Garrett giving you an overly long, very winded, detailed explanation about what this is. And I'm not a fan of that type of thing. In 2020 in April, I read the Lord of the Rings trilogy as well as The Hobbit, and there was something I didn't like that J.R.R. Tolkien did either. So anytime that I read books that every time we pass an object, we have to describe every single bleeping thing about that thing, I might let it go the first time, but after 3 times of it occurring, I'm done. Like, seriously, we just passed a stone, but now that we're passing a tree, we have to define it. Oh, and now that we've passed the tree, there's a hammock. Oh, but now that we've passed the hammock, there's a fly passing. I mean, no, not for me. Maybe for you, but not for me. So DNF that one. The next book that I picked up was this book, which is Golden Boys by Phil Stamper. This is book 1 in the so far Golden Boys duology, and I gave this book very disappointingly a total of 3 stars. It was the lowest rated book that I read this month, which is very sad given how much I love Phil Stamper as an author. He is arguably my favourite male LGBTIQ plus author, so that was unfortunate. Let me give you my own version of the premise of this one rather than reading the author's one, but basically we are following 4 teenage boys. So we follow Gabriel, Reese, Sal, and Heath. They are known as the Golden Boys because they have a chat that they're a part of, like a group online chat thing called the Golden Boys Chat, which is perfect because in a couple of chapters' time, they are all going to be split up because they are going away somewhere to get some kind of work experience or other. One of them is going internationally to Paris, but the others are still all going interstate for one reason or another for the summer holidays, and they've never been interstate. They're very scared. They don't know what is going to happen. My qualms with this book was not the story itself, but a big qualm with the writing style. As I say, I love Phil Stamper, but I'm one of those people who, from very early on in life, I just always had the opinion that if I love someone so much, I have the right to critique them. If I don't, then I don't necessarily have the right to critique them. I love Phil Stamper, so that's why I'm putting this constructive criticism out there. My particular issue, with which a lot of people may not have, but I did, is that it is a 4 main character multi-perspective book. What I mean by this is that we, in chapter 1, follow character A. In chapter 2, we follow character B. In chapter 3, we follow character C. In chapter 4, we follow character D. In chapter 5, we go back to following character A. In chapter 6, we go back to following character B. In chapter 7, we go back to following character C. And in chapter 8, we go back to following character D. And you could see how I was struggling just saying that. Imagine reading it. It was just too much for me. I love duologies. I don't mind if a book is multi-perspective, where not every perspective is a main perspective, but all 4 perspectives were main perspectives. And it was literally, you know, A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D. And it took me forever to even, you know, remember which character was which storyline I was following. I had to write down what was going on to remember, which I shouldn't need to do. I just, had a really big struggle with the way this was written. Had it been a duology, or had it been a multi-perspective where, say, we have 2 main perspectives and the others are like minor perspectives that come up every so often, it would have been a lot less confusing. The actual story itself is a good story. There are a lot of lessons learned, as you can imagine, in a YA that has characters traveling either interstate or internationally. And the growth was fantastic, but just the writing style made it really, the writing style choice of 4 main perspectives made it really confusing for me, and therefore really tough for me to get through. So I end up giving the book 3 stars. I am reading book number 2, Afterglow, next month, but that is more to do with the fact that it's Phil Stamper and I want to have read all of his books, and I will have read all of his books after reading Afterglow in November, this month in November. But 3 stars for this one, purely, as I say, because of that writing style choice. The next book that I read was this book, Vanishing Vacationers by Hope Callahan. This is book number 5 in the Millie cruise ship mystery series, and I gave this book 4 stars. The basic this is an adult cozy mystery, by the way. The basic setup of this series as a whole is that we follow an octogenarian by the name of Millie, who, for a laugh, her husband unfortunately has passed away, her kids have moved out of home. For a laugh, she decides to apply for a position to be a cruise director's assistant on a cruise ship. She has literally just done this for a laugh, and then somehow she gets hired anyway. And it's great. So in book 1, we follow Millie as she goes on board this cruise line for the first time, and the Siren of the Seas is the name of the cruise ship. And we get to follow her navigating being a cruise ship director's assistant in that first book, and obviously many more different things do occur along the way. The basic premise for book number 5 is, with a fresh wave of passengers soon to board the Siren of the Seas, assistant cruise director Millie Sanders is shocked when she discovers she has a new roommate, and fit to be tied when she learns the new roommate is none other than Danielle Nelden, her former Charge and Nemesis. When Danielle, along with two of the VIP guests, vanish on the mysterious island, Millie is forced to face her fears and join the search. She enlists the help of her friends, and soon they find themselves in a deadly adventure of a lifetime. So to my thoughts, I love this series and I loved this book. The cruise itself is so much fun, and the world building of the cruise is always enjoyable to read about. This book was no different. Millie is fantastic as an elderly woman sleuth, and the cruise is as amazing as ever. However, two cons occurred for me. One, the romantic interest wasn't on the ship. This annoyed me, as I love the will they won't they between them. And two, the reveal, what the actual ... bleep bleep bleep. I get how it helps the series overall, but the book itself, I don't think it did. Still looking forward to reading book number 6 though, and I gave this one 4 stars. The next book that I read helped me to complete a series on my SAS list, and that is this book, Dating Can Be Deadly by Amanda Flower. This is book number 5 in the Amish Matchmaker series, and I gave this book 4 stars. Now, I say it helped me to complete a series, but not only myself, but anyone else I've asked, no one seems to know if the series is officially over. So, and I will say, by the time I got to the end of the book, it either is over or it's not over. I don't know. And I'm really sorry again about the lighting. Anyway, let's keep going. So, let's talk about the premise, and then we can discuss, what makes me wonder still if the series is over or not. So basically in this one we open up with, so the basic premise of this entire series is that we are following another octogenarian by the name of Millie. I mean, if it couldn't be so similar to the Millie cruise ship series. I'm trying to lean forward because it seems the lighting is better when I do. So we're following another octogenarian by the name of Millie. In this particular series, this particular Millie is an Amish woman, and she is a matchmaker, although, again, under that whole line of if I love someone enough I can criticize their work, Millie is a matchmaker. You hardly ever see her do any matchmaking. We'll just let that go. So basically I look at this as the sister series to the Amish Candy Shop series. Alright, so in this particular one, Millie has entered a quilting competition, and while her very not Amish best friend Lois Henry is distracted by her new dating app and her search for husband number 5. In a place where quilting is a way of life, the competition is fierce, especially this year when an anonymous donor doubles the winning cash prize. Amish and English women are up against each other, and some will do anything to win, even murder. So to my thoughts, so my usual complaints about the series as a whole hold up. Not really a fan of the mystery, and harder to enjoy this series based on the fact that Millie is Amish, whereas in Candy Shop, Bailey is English. However, aside from the usual, I did enjoy this book. I love whenever fairs or anything annual comes up in a cozy town, and the fair this time was just as entertaining. The reveal was good, but very surprising. The ending sealed the 4-star rating for me. If this is the end, Amanda Flower ended the series well. If this is not the end, then I'm genuinely looking forward to book number 6. Something happens right at the end, and I wish I could tell you. I really wish I could tell you. But I can't, because it's a spoiler for the entire series. But if you know, you know. And look, it can go both ways. If this is the end, yay, Amanda Flower went out with a bang. If it's not, I need book 6. If it's not, I need book 6 because I need to see the next thing that happens. 4 stars from me. The next book that I read was this book, Questions, Quarrels and Quandaries by Tonya Kappas. This is book number 22 in the Camper and Criminals series, an adult cozy mystery series, and I gave this book 4 stars. And I just want to take this moment to apologize to Tonya Kappas for incorrectly stating the series name. For some reason, I just add an S and pluralize the word camper all the time and call it Campers and Criminals, but it is literally Camper and Criminals. But anyway, let's talk about this one very quickly. The premise of the series as a whole is we follow Mae West. To cut a long story very short, she was with some guy and unfortunately things didn't work out. The only thing he left her was a rundown trailer park, and she has done what she needed to do by this point in book 22 to turn this dump of a trailer park around into a thriving business, and it's a wonderful community in Normal, Kentucky, not only including Mae West, but her employee Dottie Swaggart, and a whole bunch of other fantastic ladies that come together at the laundry mat called the Laundry Club Ladies, and it's been an amazing read so far. We are buddy reading this series on my Discord, me and my dear friend Jane, and it has been a really interesting ride so far. The premise of book number 22 is that these women called the Cowgirl Campers end up coming to Kentucky Normal because they want to go bargain shopping. The book opens up with Dottie Swaggart very excitedly telling Mae West about a bargain thing that's come up that day, and that they should go and check it out before their Cowgirl Campers arrive. Dottie ends up buying a lawn chair from that place, and that ends up leading to a mystery. So to my thoughts on this one, I really enjoyed this one. Granted, not to a full 5-star enjoyment, but 4 stars for Camper and Criminal. I almost said Campers and Criminals again. Camper and Criminals is huge for me. I was surprised by the reveal, still umming and ahhing over whether that's a good thing or not, but lots of great moments with May and her partner Hank. Dottie, I just love Dottie, so I don't know if anyone else loves Dottie who's read this series or is reading it, but she's my favorite character, and in my opinion, Dottie is her effervescent self as always. I also appreciated getting to see the church, given how much it's spoken of, and that we hardly go there, so we spent a lot more time at the church in this book. It was a real page turner for me, and I gave it 4 stars. On the Discord Buddy Read, we read 3 Camper and Criminals books per month, and so the next book that I read was book number 23 in that same series, Witness, Woods, and Wedding, and I gave this book a total of 4 stars. So, okay, what can I say about this book? We open up with this book with May and her love interest looking to get married. This is something that we have been waiting for. Well, I personally have been waiting for a very, very, very long time. But unfortunately, anything and everything that can go wrong does. For example, the May has a dog, a poodle, who she wants to be the ring bearer in the wedding ceremony. Unfortunately, the day before the wedding, when or the day of the wedding, one of the two, when this poodle is meant to be given a nice little, makeover at the groomers, it can't happen. There is a forecast for a cyclone that is coming through. There's issues with the bridesmaids' dresses. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on. There is also a mystery, and the mystery in this book was actually carried over from the last one. Hank, the love interest in the book, was a cop. He is now a detective who runs his own sort of detective company, and they're trying to find this teenage girl. Now, throughout all of the things that were going wrong with the trying to get ready, the preparations for May's wedding, Hank is not available to get a copy of the marriage license with May because he's trying to go with someone to do something to do with finding this missing teen, and May decides to basically insert herself into the situation and say, well, the courthouse is on the way, so I'll just come with you. And the whole thing was set up to be a disaster. Unfortunately, this did affect my rating because while the wedding does go ahead, I'll say that much, it just... I felt that May deserved a whole lot more than what she got. And while that may seem like a spoiler, I'm not giving you specific details, but I needed to mention that here. I have come to love May and Hank throughout this whole series, and this wedding, really, they could have done so much with this wedding, and yeah, I was really let down by that, so I deducted a star for it. That being said, the reveal was absolutely amazing once we finally got to that reveal, so I really did enjoy that, and I ended up giving it 4 stars. And therefore, the next book that I read was this book, which is Elves, Evergreens, and Evidence. This is book number 34 in the Camper and Criminal series. I gave this one 4.5 stars. I loved this book. Arguably, this is probably my favorite book in the series, and Jane and I were discussing it, and I do believe it's Jane's favorite as well. This book was Christmas, 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 and if you know me, you know how much I love books that are Christmas, Christmas, Christmas to the umpteenth degree. already. The only series that has done more Christmas in a book than this one for me is the Christmas Tree Farm series by Jacqueline Frost, which is 100% Christmas. This book was like 95%, and already that is setting me up for a 5-star read. So, the premise of this one is Mae West's first Christmas as a married woman at Happy Trails Campground should have been merry and bright, but when a winter festival turns deadly and one of their own lands on the suspect list, Mae and the Laundry Club ladies know there's more to unwrap than just presents. So, to my thoughts, it certainly is Christmas time in normal, and anytime a cozy lends itself to the holiday, it makes me happy. So, my first massive pro for the book is the Christmassy theme and the coziness that came along with it. I also enjoyed the mystery. There were almost bigger stakes than normal in this one, especially for Mae, and I really appreciated that. The reveal was good also. Just a heads up. And I deducted 0.5 stars for this one reason. This particular book features needles. And so I'll just give you a quick explanation as to how. A body is found at some point in the book. And when that body is found, next to that body is a syringe. That syringe is picked up. The syringe is used as a threatening weapon. And I am trypanophobic. For those who don't know, trypanophobia is defined as the irrational, I have words, the irrational fear of needles. And so as a trypanophobe myself, it was really hard reading a cozy that had a syringe that was featured. I really, it was really icky. So I took off 0.5 for the book, but otherwise absolutely loved it. 4.5 stars. The next book that I read was this book, 5 Get Into a Fix by Enid Blyton. This is book number 17 in the famous 5 series, and I gave this book 4 stars. The premise of this one is the famous 5 are skiing, having lots of fun in the snow, but it's not long before they have a new mystery to solve. Like, who is living in the mysterious house near the chalet they're staying in? Ooh. So I enjoyed this one. I loved being the new characters in the story, especially the daughter of the shepherd. So yeah, we meet a shepherd, we meet this girl. She is such a sweetie. Oh my gosh. That's all I have to say. She's so sweet and innocent. I just loved meeting her. I also enjoyed their snow vibes, especially given it doesn't snow where I live. I live in Melbourne, Australia, and it doesn't snow here. Bring me snow. The mystery just didn't grab me, and I thought the confrontation ended too quickly, so I docked a star for that. But otherwise, a good read, and I gave it 4 stars. The next book that I read was the next famous 5 book, which is this one, 5 on Finiston Farm, which is book number 18 in the famous 5 series. The premise of this one is there's a ruined castle on Finiston Farm, but only the dungeons remain, and nobody knows where they are. The famous 5 are determined to find them and whatever is hidden in them. Yeah, so this was a really fun book. It's not the first time the 5 have been to a farm. That's not where their cousin George lives. She lives at Kieran Farm. But it's the most fun I've had with them being at a farm. We meet twins who are fantastic. The twins even have a pet jackdaw, which is different for this series. Another secret way to discover 2, which is always fun. Fantastic read, and I gave this one 5 stars. And the final book I read this month was this book, 5 Go to Demons Rocks by Enid Blyton, book number 19 of 21 in the series, and I gave this one 4 stars. The premise of this one is the famous 5 have heard the stories about treasures on Demons Rocks, but they never thought they were really true. But when they discover a very old and valuable gold coin and what was a myth becomes real. Who does the treasure belong to? The gang are determined to find out. So to my thoughts, this was a reread for me, which is interesting because I'd only read a very, very, very minority of this 21 book series. And so to get to 19 and go, oh, I've actually read this one, really surprised me because the majority of the ones I'd read were like within the first, I would say, 7 books. So yeah, I was like, oh, I read one really late in the series. But to my thoughts, aside from it being a reread, the beginning really annoyed me. Tinker, who is the new character that the kids hang out with, there's always a new character that the kids hang out with. He has come to stay at Kieran Cottage with his father, who is friends with George's father. So this kid Tinker annoyed me greatly. And when the five come home, Tinker is already there with his monkey. Timmy, the dog, who is in every single book, George's dog, ends up running inside when he hears the monkey, and because he's confused, going, why is there a monkey here? And then Tinker bops him, hits Timmy on the nose, and that really upset me. But then George hits Tinker, and I know that I shouldn't laugh at that, but I was thinking, yay, you don't hit Timmy. And that's why it's a classic, because you wouldn't get away with writing that these days in the middle grade. But I just appreciated that. But other than that, once that was all over, Tinker settled down and became a really good kid. So so once he stopped being a brat after that first quarter, I enjoyed the rest of the book. Without saying much, the five end up trapped somewhere, and the genius way that they go about getting free was inspired. So well done, Enid Blyton. I really appreciated how she did that. Fantastic book that indeed holds up on reread. 4 stars from me. And that is it. Unfortunately, I don't have all of the books on me, so I can't play up, but imagine I am. And that is where I am going to leave it. So letting you all go with peace, blessings, and so much love. Please do be kind and love one another and spread your sparkling energy all throughout the world. And until next time, happy reading. Bye, everyone.